today we are going to talk about something really important. As you can see behind me, there is a picture. This picture is basically not from India, okay? This is not from India, but this picture is from Spain. This picture is from Spain. And probably this picture is the most famous rock painting in the world, called as the Altamira rock paintings or Altamira rock shelters from Spain. However, how many of you are aware that the first rock painting in the world, the first prehistoric rock painting in the world, that was not discovered at Spain or in any other country? It was discovered in India. In India in the year 1867-68, there is a place called Sohagi Ghat in Mirzapur, and I think now there is nobody who does not know where is Mirzapur, okay? I think everybody must be aware. Everybody must have watched the very ill-famous web series as well, right? So Mirzapur is basically that place which is not only famous for the Kaleen Bhaiya or something. Mirzapur is also famous for being the earliest discovered site where the rock paintings were found. And remember that not just a single rock painting. In fact, Mirzapur has at present, it has got 200 plus rock paintings, out of which the Vindhya and the Kaimurs, both the mountain ranges, they have got the numerous rock shelter paintings. But what are the significances? What is the importance of these rock paintings? Why do you think that the early human beings used to make those paintings? And where did they make those paintings? Using which type of color, which has lasted so many years, thousands of years? Today, if we try to make a painting, it may hardly survive a few hundred years. So what did they exactly use? What did they exactly use to make paintings which lasted for so many centuries, or in fact thousands of years? So in this lecture, we will try to find out all these details. Welcome to the class, everyone. Good evening, Suresh Rathorji, the explorer. Very good evening to you and those who have joined the session live with me. Welcome to the session. Guys, before we proceed, I request everybody to share this session with your friends and on the social media platforms wherever you are, so that maximum number of people can join the session. And here let me tell you that we are actually proceeding topic by topic. The basic plan of the lecture, that will be based upon the 11th class Fine Arts NCERT. Let me tell you, in the yesterday's lecture we had already discussed that our basic source should be, our basic source, that should be which one? That should be the class 11th NCERT, okay, and Introduction to Fine Arts. All right, everyone. So here let me tell you, nowadays, many people are actually covering the art and culture part from the various books, like some books publication, right? Some books which are quite popular among the students, like that of the Nitin Singhania, or even StudyIQ publication is also there, which is printing a very great quality book. So those books are called standard books because we can enrich our understanding, enrich our knowledge by them. Okay, so here in my lecture we will have the informations and the knowledge part, right? Basic thing will be from NCERT, and where the factual details will be required, those details will be taken from the StudyIQ's book of art and culture, which is commendable work done by StudyIQ team. Now moving further, in India, you can see the map of India, and you can realize that exactly this central highland where we have the Aravali, we have the Bundelkhand, we have the Vindhya ranges, and we have the Kaimur ranges. okay, Vindhya and Kaimur. Here we have the Satpura ranges, and in this area we have the Sahyadri, and here we have the Nilgiris, or certain granitic plateaus, etc. So overall the concentration of the rock paintings or the rock shelters, it is naturally understood that for the early human beings, construction of the rocks was not possible, construction of the caves was not possible. So they will obviously choose the natural caves, right, natural caves for their shelter, This is why when we have a doubt in our mind that why only the given areas, right, why only given areas on map have the rock paintings. Okay, everyone. So this is the first question that person gets into his or her mind. The reason is that these areas where the rock paintings are found, they have the natural caves where the early humans used to take shelters, and these areas were mostly present in the lower foothills of the Himalayas, or in the plateau regions, or in such hilly areas where it was possible to have the large boulders of the stone, large spaces like caves. All right. Therefore, you will not find any rock paintings or anything like that in the alluvial plain region. Why? Because obviously there is no cave. Okay, there is no cave. It was suitable for the living of the early human beings. Now moving further, and let us understand the significance of the rock paintings. The significance of the rock paintings. Any student can ask a question that, sir, why do we study, or why should we study about the rock paintings? What is the purpose? Why would UPSC ask about it? So my simple answer to that is, basically, suppose you are living in a village. And somebody comes at your home and just looks at the house that you have constructed, the house, the decoration of the house, the type of gadgets which you are using at the moment, the type of pottery utensils, the type of vehicles which you are using, right? Whatever materialistic possessions you have, why is that important? That is important because they tell you, they tell the others about your financial status, about your standard of living, or about the way of living, isn't it? Similarly, when you go to the apartments located in the huge metro cities, there you will find the different types of the decorations, different types of the architecture, different type of the articles or materials used. So that means whenever we have the material evidences, okay everyone, material evidences, they tell us about the life, okay, about the lives and the livings of the early humans, isn't it? Of the early humans. So one thing is absolutely clear, that these might be categorized as a type of source in the historical understandings, in the archaeological understandings. Yes, you are right. So when we have the only material evidences, right, only the material evidences are there, which are also known as the archaeological evidences. Okay everyone. So when we have, right, if we have only archaeological evidences to discuss about the life and the history of any society, any person, then we should understand that particular person or particular society belonged to the prehistorical times. I think those who had attended the lectures of NCERT, which has just ended, a couple of days ago, So there I had told you in the very first lecture about the prehistorical and proto-historical and historical time periods. So dear students, the prehistorical rock paintings are very, very important for us because they are one of the very limited resources with the help of which we can understand about the life, about the living standards, about the cultural practices of the early human beings. That is the answer. Okay, everyone. So why are they significant? Because in the rock paintings, the people used to express themselves. Today if you see that a small child is there, okay, a young child is there, young child 2-3 years old, you just give a pencil to that child. What will that child do? He or she will start, drawing some caricatures, drawing some lines here and there. Why? Because that is how he expresses or she expresses himself or herself. Similarly, at the time of the festivals, right, you guys have seen that some people start, putting the rangoli or alpana. In the time of festivals like Deepavali, you just get to see that people start cleaning and dusting their houses, making the, doing the paintings, etc. Why? It is because these paintings and drawings, they signify, they express their joy, their feelings for the particular festival. All right, everyone. Not only that, whenever a person is living in his or her own house, you must have seen that the people decorate their houses. Similarly, the early people also used to decorate their caves. At the same time, one logical statement that is possible, that suppose if I am hungry, what will I do? I will try to arrange some food for me. But when I am not hungry, when I am full, satisfied with the food, I don't have anything else to do, what will I do? I will start doing something creative. So the early humans also did the same thing. So it is possible that the rock paintings might be the expression of the creativity, might be the decoration of their houses, might be the use of, might be the source of recording of the day-to-day activities which are happening into their lives, or they might be the lessons given to the young children so that they can identify the animals, the insect, the hunting methods, the cultural practices. How can we say that? It is because in the paintings of the early historic period or prehistoric period, you can find such paintings where the group dance is shown, where the hunting scenes are shown, where the different animals, even the small animals like lizards, right, other insects, they are also created. Okay, so we can say that this might serve as the multiple sources or multiple utilities for the early human beings. All right, everyone. Now moving further, if we observe the designs, right, and the content, so their content and their design, that was quite variable, quite diverse. India has thousands of such examples where the rock paintings were, they were drawn. But the most important thing is that those rock paintings, they have some common features across the region, even if it is in Himalaya or it is in Sahyadri or it is in Nilgiri, the features are quite evidently common, which means that we can categorize these rock paintings on the basis of several features into the different groups. Overall, if we try to categorize, let me tell you, naturally we have the Paleolithic paintings, we have the Mesolithic paintings, we have the Neo and Chalcolithic paintings. These are the three major categories of the prehistoric paintings. After that, we can see the historical paintings, of course. However, when we talk about the paintings in the Paleolithic period, let me tell you a very important thing, that the earliest paintings belonged to the Upper Paleolithic period. Okay. There are some places in Indonesia, in Spain, Mexico, Bolivia. These places contain some of the oldest rock paintings in the world, and they are probably 60 to 40,000 years old. So 40,000 to 60,000 years old rock paintings. It is possible. In India, however, we don't have the rock paintings which are older than 10 to 12,000 years. Right, everyone? Remember that if we talk about the oldness or the antiquity of the rock paintings, in Bhimbetka we have such examples. However, India does not have only Bhimbetka, but India has several places, several sites which are famous for the rock paintings. Some of the most important sites which I have listed behind me. The first and the most important, which is on the first one, that is the Kaimur. Kaimur range is expanding towards the Bihar and starting in the Mirzapur region of Uttar Pradesh. From Mirzapur going up to the districts like Kaimur, regions like Kaimur, or the districts like Rohtas, Nevada, Jamui, etc. in Bihar. And remember that these paintings, they have quite well survived to the date, because they used the substances like geru. Okay, geru was basically hematite, the iron oxide. Then oil was used, natural vegetational oil. Sindoor or vermilion, juice of the bark of the trees and of the beans and other vegetations. So basically, what is the main feature of these paintings? These paintings used the pigments obtained from the natural rocks like hematite, like sindoor, etc., vermilion, etc., which was borax. And if we talk about other substances, so they used the coloring basin, coloring base of the juices of the plants and the trees. So overall, the mineral and the vegetation, and the vegetable juices or the plant juices, these were used collectively to make the colors for such type of paintings. Isn't it surprising that these guys, they had no degrees in the chemistry or no degrees in the arts and paintings, but still they were able to make such long lasting colors, long lasting pigments and dyes. Okay. Not only that, if you have the example of the Satpura ranges, guys, Satpura ranges basically that is located nearby the Pachmadi. You might have heard the name of Pachmadi, the only hill station, the single hill station of Madhya Pradesh in India. Pachmadi is famous for its amazing rock sculptures, in fact rock paintings. And why so? There are depictions of the headhunters, headhunters. Have a look on this one. They are holding the heads into their hand and they are celebrating like anything. So there might be some festival which was represented through this painting, and that festival might be celebrated in the Pachmadi area, right now. So that was basically done in the Satpura ranges. Here the paintings belong to the Mesolithic and the later periods because they have the rich depictions of the different animals, birds, even the conjugal activities. That means the animals, they doing the copulation, that is also represented. Now guys, my question to all of you, there is a question to all of you, that why do you think that Mesolithic paintings had the better sensitivity, better aesthetic value, better expressions as compared to the Paleolithic period? What is the reason behind it? And why is there a sudden increase in the number of paintings? Guys, let me tell you that answer to both of these questions, that would be very, very simple. That when the evolution was happening, when the changes in the climate were taking place, the arrangement of the food that became comparatively easier for the human beings. So when the food was easily available, that means the people had more time. When the people had more time, they would be definitely devoting their time for the paintings and other recreational activities. Okay, everyone? This type of question that was asked probably in 2018 UPSC mains examination, where they had asked a question to compare the Mesolithic or Stone Age art forms with the present art forms, right? So one of the points of comparison, that would be this one as well. Now, apart from that, in the Vindhya ranges, they probably have the most famous rock painting site, that is Bhimbetka. And remember that Bhimbetka, that is basically discovered by an archaeologist, V.S. Vakankar. However, since his discovery or his invention of the place, there are thousands and thousands other important rock paintings or rock shelters which have been discovered in that particular region. However, only a few rock paintings are still intact, still visible clearly. Got it, everybody? So let me tell you that the various places like hunting, dancing, music, horses, elephant riders, animal fighting, all these things are represented at the Bhimbetka. But how many of you are having the question in the mind when you heard horses? We must have studied in the history that Indian people, even in the Harappan civilization, they were not aware or not able to know the use of the horses. But here we are seeing that the paintings are made, the horse paintings are found at Bhimbetka. What does that signify? I told you that these rock paintings were actually created, they were drawn over a long period of time. For example, in the Bhimbetka caves, the drawings and the paintings can be categorized into the seven different historical period. Okay, 7 different historical categories. However, the first three categories, only they contain the paintings from the Upper Paleolithic, from the Mesolithic period, and from the Chalcolithic period. All right, everyone. So naturally, if we see that only the three groups at the Bhimbetka rock paintings, they belong to the they belong to the Stone Age. Apart from that, no other groups of paintings belong to the Stone Age. Okay, that is why the paintings which were drawn later on, those paintings, they had the images of the horses, images of the battles, images of the soldiers, etc., etc. But apart from the places in the Deccan, apart from the places in the central India, we also have certain examples in the Himalayan region. Now guys, in the Himalayan region, particularly in the Kumaon zone, right, in the Kumaon range, we have a place called as a Lakhudiyar. This Lakhudiyar is basically near Almora, and here we have small caves containing numerous images, and Lakhudiyar basically means 1 lakh caves. Practically there are not 1 lakh caves to be exact, but definitely there are huge number of caves, and let me tell you, this has to be amongst the largest cave complexes representing the ancient or the early historic paintings. All right, here there are 3 different groups. The first group has the paintings representing the human beings, second group has the paintings showing the animals, and the third group has the paintings showing the geometrical patterns. That means by this time period, probably the early human beings, they were now enjoying, they were now doing the various activities for the fun. That is why they were creating so many different types of the paintings. All right, everyone, remember that. Now moving further, the features of the Lakudiyar paintings in the Kumaon range, that is very different. Earlier we had seen that the line pattern that was used, the line pattern which was used in the Bhimbetka, or the boxy pattern which was used in the Pachmadi, or the line and curve pattern which was used in the Mirzapur region. Let me tell you, in the Kumaon paintings, you have the zigzag pattern. Okay, you have the zigzag pattern. Not only the zigzag pattern, you also have the, the form of wavy lines and the dots and the rectangles, etc. Which means in the group of the geometrical rock shelters, we have the numerous evidences that they were using the forms and the shapes of the geometry to make their paintings look relatively better than their other parts. Okay, everyone. So that is very important thing to understand, because without having the knowledge and understanding of the symmetry, knowledge and understanding of the linear properties, or knowledge and understanding of the use of the different chemicals on the different surfaces, it is not possible. It is not possible to exactly make those patterns. Yes, definitely knowledge, it was not the research based theoretical knowledge that we are having right now. It must be the practical knowledge which might have been acquired by the regular use of these products or these elements. Now, apart from the Himalaya, we also have the rock paintings in the Deccan region as well, particularly in the Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka region especially. In Karnataka also, the areas close to the Western Ghats or the areas close to the Nilgiris, right? In Andhra Pradesh, the Eastern Ghats, particularly the Sheshachalam or particularly Tirumala hills, etc., or Shevaroy hills, Annamalai hills, all these things, they have the evidences of the rock paintings. All right, everyone. So these rock paintings, most important locations are Rayachuram, okay, Rayachur, this is Rayachur, then Tirumala and Sahyadri ranges. Then the locations exactly include the Kopgallu, then Piklihal and Tekkalkota, right, everyone. So remember these places, because sometimes UPSC asks the questions in the prelims examination where you will see the names on the one side. For example, Piklihal, this particular site has been asked in the examination. Piklihal, there is a question related to Piklihal in the civil services prelims examination. So that is a very important place. And what is the speciality of this? Because in the Deccan region we have the granitic rocks used for the surface of that painting. That is a very important thing. Why? Because granites have the property of the extreme surface hardness, right? So it was very difficult to to bruise them or to encroach them in any condition. That's why even the pigments did not react on the granite very easily. That is why whichever colors were to be chosen, those colors or those pigments, they had to be chosen very carefully. That means it was a difficult task for them, right? Now let us understand about the evolution of the paintings and their features. So guys, in the history we have studied about the Upper Paleolithic, okay, we have studied about the Mesolithic, and then we see the Neolithic. Now let me tell you a very important point, right? Let me tell you a very important point, that whenever there is the evolution in the human life, there is the change of the pattern of the human way of living, there would be the change in the pattern of the paintings also. For example, in the Upper Paleolithic, when it was comparatively easier as compared to the Lower and Mid Paleolithic, of course, but still it was very tough to survive. So here the question of survival, that was still very tough, which means that occasional paintings, that means less numbers of paintings are present. Okay, less numbers of the paintings are present. All right, not only that, the paintings, they have usually have the hunting scenes or single animals, or the use of horns to scratch the rock surface, etc. That was very common. Why were they using the horn of the animal to scratch the rock surface? Because horn were naturally, obviously, they were naturally very tough, and that's why it was possible to indent the rock with the help of the horns. And horns were also easily available to them because they used to hunt the animals. This was their primary practice in the Upper Paleolithic region. However, when we reach to the Mesolithic period, the speciality of the Mesolithic period is the comparatively easier access, easier availability of the food. Easier availability of the food. Not only that, the beginning of grazing animals. Grazing animals. And guys, those who belong to the rural areas, they can understand it very, very easily. When you have the grazing animals who just keep on grazing upon the different types of the grasses, different types of the plants, then it is highly possible that in their dung, in their excreta, some of the seeds, etc., they might be left as residue, and they might get grown into a plant nearby the dwellings of the early human beings. Have you not seen that? Isn't it? I think it's a very common practice. Similarly, the birds, etc., they might be increasing in the number because the temperature was getting warmer and warmer. Remember that climate conditions were changing in the beginning of the Mesolithic period, right? If you might have heard, you might have read in the ancient history as well, the era called as the Pleistocene that was gone. So due to the increasing temperature, the grasses were rapidly increasing. When the grasses were rapidly increasing, the grass grazing animals and the insects living in the grass and the birds feeding upon those insects, those seeds, they all were evolving and increasing along with the time. This is why, my dear, you will observe that the grazing animals and the chirping birds, then group hunting, then chasing animals, etc., they will become more common in the representational paintings of the Mesolithic period. Therefore, you can observe the paintings of the birds eating the food grains, and those paintings one can very easily understand that they belong to the Mesolithic period, not to the Upper Paleolithic period. All right, everyone. Similarly, after that, when we compare the life of the Paleolithic and Mesolithic people with the life of the Neolithic and Chalcolithic people, now there will be the wholesome changes. There will be the wholesome changes, and the Chalcolithic or the Neolithic people, they will start have the more permanent and chemical, chemical based pigments. Obviously Geru was also chemical, but here these chemicals were comparatively processed. Why? Because in the Neolithic period, the human beings were able to begin the permanent settlement and to live like a proper community in a rural area. Therefore, the more application of the heating, cooking, more uses of the firewoods, those things might have led to the use of new type of colors. How many of you have seen that the ashes which we get from burning the woods, even they also give you a peculiar color. When you just try to dissolve those wood ashes into the water, you get a very unique type of colloidal type of structure in the water. Okay, that was also used. Remember that. So we can see that the scenes related to human life, okay, pottery making, then cart, wheels, etc. Even these things are also represented in the Neolithic period. So we can say, now this can be the answer, or this can be the foundation of the answer to mains question which was asked in that particular year in 2018. Probably I told you that how can you correlate the paintings which we have obtained from that particular era with the paintings which we have obtained in this time period, today's time period. So here you can understand very well that even in those times as well, the paintings used to represent the contemporary socio-economic and cultural realities of the society. Even today also they are doing the same thing, right everyone? So here, for example, you can see the hunting scene. Now, can you see the hunting scene? Can you tell me that these scenes, they are essentially the examples of the Mesolithic paintings. Why? Because they are having the group paintings, and they are riding the animals. Looks like a donkey or the ass, right? So they might be riding such type of animals. However, the historians and archaeologists, they have also laid the claims that these might be the horses, and the people of India were already aware of the horses. But their representation, it makes them to look more like the donkeys. However, the NCERT, it tells us that Mesolithic paintings, they had no idea about the horses, okay, and that is why they were doing the hunting probably by sitting on the back of some other animal, horse-like animal, not on the exact horse, okay. Now, then you have this dancing scene. As I told you, here you can see the human beings, right? The human beings are represented like that. Look at this one, okay, they are represented like that, okay, they are represented like that, okay. So you can see very well that they are mostly represented in the form of the lines, in the form of the linear depictions with the color white against the dark background. And here you can see the dance, probably some sort of extended ornaments were worn by the people. They also had the headgears, most probably they used to wear the headgears, right, some other type of thing on the head, and they are dancing in a group by holding the hands of each other. It looks like a typical Bollywood style, Bollywood style group dance of the 90s. But That is approximately 10 to 12,000 years old picture. 10 to 12,000 years old picture. Hello everyone, very good evening and welcome to StudyIQ IAS. I hope that everybody is able to hear my voice properly and watch the video. So guys, today we are going to do the part of our lecture, that is the third part. In fact, the lecture 3 is there. And in today's lecture, we will be doing the topic, that is the art of the Indus Valley. That means here we are going to discuss about the Harappan civilization, the aspects of the arts and crafts during the Harappan period. Overall, this particular topic will be in the 2 different parts. Today we will be doing the first part, in which I will be discussing with you about the Harappan seals, about the Harappan sculpture art, and about some general features of the technologies which were used in the construction of these things. And in the next part of this lecture, I will be talking about the potteries of Harappa as well as the architecture of the Harappan buildings. Okay everyone, so make it sure that do not forget to share this class with your friends as well as the people who are enthusiastic to learn about the art and culture of the country. So that is going to be very interesting and very useful class for them. Good evening Explorer and Suresh Rathore. Good evening to both of you. In fact, those who are live, good evening to each and every one of you. And guys, make it sure that turn out in bigger numbers in the live sessions, because they are more interactive and more useful for you. Now, moving further, you can have a look on this particular picture, right? I think most of you might be having an idea that this is basically a bullock cart, and these are the potteries obtained from Harappa. This is the another pottery, but 2 pictures, in fact 2 figures that most of you might be aware of. Okay, Sarvendra. One is on my right hand, on the other, that is on the left hand. So one is on the right and the other is on the left, and you can see here this is the very famous, well-known bronze statue of the dancing girl, and this is the statite statue of the priest of Mohenjo-daro. It is assumed to be the priest. Nobody knows exactly that if this was a dancing girl or if that was a priest. That is not very sure. Now, why am I saying like that? It is because basically, when we talk about the Harappan culture and civilization, remember that these people, they used to write different things. Of course, they have the script, but we are unable to understand the scripts of the Harappa. That is why, if we talk about Harappan period, let me tell you that Harappan periods is basically, that is decided as the proto-historic period. Okay, as the proto-historic period. So this is why the importance of the archaeological evidences, that is a very high, very high. All right, everyone. Now moving further, and let us see anyways, now coming to the topic here, arts of the Indus Valley. Okay, so here, first of all, if we talk about the art forms in Harappan civilization, remember that the art forms are found from the various sites. In fact, Harappans were very evident, very much expert in the art and craft structures. It is evident from the presence of the various artifacts like the sculptures, seals, potteries, gold jewelries, silver jewelries, and terracottas. No, in fact, I'm sorry for silver, copper jewelry. So these things were actually present in the life of Harappan people. And if you look at the artistic expressions, they were very well versed with the nature of beauty. They wanted to beautify their surroundings. That is why a lot of decorations, lot of decorative items were also obtained. They wanted to beautify themselves. That is why a lot of jewelries have also been recovered. If you look at their potteries, the potteries of Harappan people, they also decorated their potteries. Have a look on this one as well. You can see the design of a leaf, and this leaf probably appears to be the leaf of a people, the leaf of people, isn't it? It appears to be design of the leaf of people. Here you can see the small triangle-like structure. Here you can see the parallel lines. Okay, the parallel lines. So you can say that Harappans were having a sense of beauty, a sense of decoration. And in any society which is civilized and which is dedicated to make the surroundings beautiful, that society will definitely develop the lots of art and craft, etc. Right? Here, for example, the Harappans, they also used the human and the animal figures, and they appear very realistic in the nature. In fact, if you see the images like bull images or the unicorn images or the images of the human faces which they have made, I will say one thing, that their aesthetics regarding the human body appearance, that was not very good. I'm sorry to say, but that was not very good. They did not have the proper idea about how to give the shape to the human face, right? But when we look at the images of the animals, they had perfectly fine aesthetic knowledge, perfectly fine knowledge of the ratio and proportion. Guys, those who are thinking that what is the significance of studying about these sculptures or these artifacts obtained from Harappa, let me tell you that when you know about the sculpture, this also indicates that you know about the significance of ratio and proportion, about the significance of the color combination, about the significance of the dimensional size. Okay. So that means you are working with your logic and you are intelligent person. This is why in any society, when the people are not developed, you can say civilizationally, then they do not have such type of decorative items, such type of sculptures, such type of artifacts. But when there is the civilizational growth, when people become well versed with the technology, knowledge, learnings, only then people develop the art and culture also. So when we say culture and the civilization, these are two distinct things. We need to understand the difference here. Culture is basically the specific way of living, a specific way of living. For example, suppose if I am living in a village, I will follow the culture of the village. Like my attire, my dressing will be different. My language, the words will be different. My cuisine, the food will be different. My habitat, the house structure will be different. My practices and customs, rituals, etc. will be different. My celebrations, festivals will be different. Isn't it? All these are the part and parcel of the culture, which defines the qualitative aspect or the defining attributes of the life of an individual. That is what we call as culture, isn't it? Our language, our appearance, our attire, our food, our habits, all these are a part of our culture. But when we talk about the materialistic aspect, like suppose I am eating, that is okay, that is my culture. But where am I eating? Am I eating in a hotel? Or am I eating in my home? Am I eating with the spoon or am I eating with the hands? Basically, now when I will be eating with the spoon, I will need to manufacture the spoon. So spoon manufacturing industry will be established. When I am eating in a hotel, the hotel needs to be constructed. So then we need to construct the additional building where only the people who are going to eat something, only they will come. So when along with the cultural development, when we have to construct the additional structures which support and enhance the quality of our life, they are quantifiable in the terms of the value, monetary value or economical value, then we call them as the civilizational growth or the civilizational development. All right, everyone. So that is, I think, the most important difference here. You can have your own versions of understanding, but these are the basic things that we need to understand. Now, when I'm talking about the arts of Harappan Valley, as I told you that they were basically civilizational people. So naturally they were developed. Naturally they had the materialistic aspirations. So this is why we can see the presence of the civic planning like houses, markets, storage facilities, offices, public bath, etc., etc. And all these, they are related to the culture. The culture is also attributed to the geography of a particular place. For example, the Arab culture is to wear the gown-like dress. The gown-like dress. In Arab region, you can see both men and women. They cover their complete body. The traditional Arabs I'm talking about. Even the men also have got the headgear. The women have got the headgear and scarf as well, because men have the beard but the women don't have, so they have the scarf to cover the face. Then the full body is covered. Whereas if you compare the attire of the Indian people with the Arabic people, there you can have that in India we usually have the Angavastram. I'm talking about the conventional attire. I'm not talking about that I'm wearing a shirt and pant and all. No, conventional attire. Traditional. So Angavastram is basically, you can say a folded sheet of cloth which is just kept on your shoulders. Usually in the traditional worships, you do not see that people are wearing the upper body cloth, especially the men. They only wear a dhoti, right? A dhoti. A dhoti is very, very light cotton fabric which is folded in such a way that it allows a lot of air to pass. That means that due to the warm climate of India, the majority of people traditionally, they had to wear such a cloth which involved the lesser covering of the body so that the air was more transported. Similarly, if you compare the food habits, geography defines the food habits as well, isn't it? Similarly, my dear, if you compare the art and culture, the geography also defines the art and culture. Like, if we take the example of, this particular statue, if we take the example of this particular statue, this is the statue which is made up of the statite stone. Now guys, statite stone is a soft stone. It is a soft stone, right? Whereas if you look at this particular statue, this is the statue which is made up of the jasper. Okay, a type of red sandstone. Okay, red sandstone. Okay, so here if we talk about the different materials being used to construct the different statues, what is the importance of that? This is the indication that in particular area, whichever material will be available, only that material will be used to construct the artifacts. For example, if suppose we have the sandstone in India, we will construct the building from sandstone. If we have the soil in India, we will construct our building from the bricks. This is why, my dear, in the hilly areas, you see that the buildings are constructed in the villages by using the stones of the hills. Whereas in the plain areas, like in central and eastern UP, in the Bihar region, in the plain areas, even during the earlier period, the houses were constructed by the mud only. The mud was used. Okay, the mud was used to construct the house. So anywhere, the geography of that particular place defines the basic material which is used for the construction of the artifacts, construction of the buildings, sculptures, and so many things. Here also, when we talk about the artifacts in Harappan civilization, we have three different types of the materials with the help of which the Harappan artifacts were created. For example, the stone was used, or the bronze was used, or the terracotta was used. In the stone artifacts, we have the best example of the priest. This priest figure is obtained from Mohenjo-daro. Okay, obtained from Mohenjo-daro. And in this particular sculpture, you can see that draped in a shawl coming under the right arm and covering the left shoulder. Now guys, this particular shawl about which we are talking here, this shawl is having the specific designs. Now these are the basically trefoil designs. Trefoil means what? The three petal flowers, three petal of flowers. This is called as the trefoil design. Now in the UPSC prelims examination, you can expect this particular term. Okay, trefoil. Just note this term. Okay, note it down please. If you are sitting with the notebook and paper and pen, then note it down, this trefoil. Trefoil is basically a triangular shape, or sorry, a three petal shape flower. That is the trefoil. Okay. Now here you can also see that it appears to be a woolen shawl. Appears to be a woolen shawl. You cannot see such patterns on the cotton because that will become itchy. But in the woolen shawls, such soft patterns can be easily created. So probably the Harappans were also aware of the handicraft techniques. That is the you can say weaving of the cotton and woolen textiles. That's very easily proved by this picture itself. Now when we talk about the second picture, now guys, in the second picture even you can see that this appears to be a mechanical arrangement, because here the hands etc., they were probably fitted, which means that there might be some grooves and fits, and this is why we can simply praise the skills, the technical advancements that Harappans might have achieved. Right everyone? This also appears to be the picture of a monk, or the picture of somebody who might be an ascetic, But since we don't have the head, or we don't have the hands here, so we cannot actually assume that exactly whose picture it would have been. But when we talk about the picture of the priest, the image of the priest, right? The image of the priest appears to wear a gold ornament as well, and you can find that such type of ornament that is used in India even today as well. Even today we have the such ornaments. You can also see the intricate pattern of the beard, that person has, and comparatively a medium-sized nose with the semi-closed eyes. Okay, this semi-closed eyes indicate what? Was he looking like a mongoloid? No, he was, or he probably was in the state of meditation, right everyone? Because the other sculptures in Harappan civilization, they don't show such type of eyes. So these eyes only indicate the state of meditation might be possible for this person. Now when we talk about the other features, we can see very clearly that beard was not very long, rather it was a short beard, and ears resemble the double shells with a hole in the middle. Okay, and hair was parted in the middle. So they actually did the mid parting, right? They did the mid parting of the hair, not the side parting. So currently we are following the fashion of the side parting. You can see here the hairs are parted in the side, but this gentleman, he had the hairs parted from here in the mid of the head. Okay, so that was probably his own fashion. Now armlet is worn on the right hand and holes around the neck suggest a necklace. So probably the men also wore the jewelries. You saw that crown, you saw that armlet, and even probably the necklace was also there. So men probably wore the jewelries as fascinatingly as the women. Now, when we talk about the bronze casting, so stone is, I think, clear to everybody, stone statues. Now moving to the bronze statues. Dear students, bronze statues in Harappan civilization, they were constructed with the help of a technique called as the Sire Purdue. This is the name of the technique of the bronze sculpture making. Okay, bronze sculpture making. Now, what was this technique actually? In this technique, also known as the lost wax technique, there used to be a mold. What is a mold? The mold was basically a hollow structure. If, for example, if you can see this picture, right? This is a hollow structure, okay? Hollow structure in which the wax was poured. What was poured? The wax was poured, molten wax. Okay, this molten wax, this used to take the shape, all right, take the shape. Now here, when we have the molten wax, right everyone? Actually, see, there are two different methods. Let me just tell the both methods separately. In one method, which is used today, we have this type of hard shell which is hollow from inside. We pour the metals from here, right? Molten metal from here, and then the molten metal takes the shape of this solid object. This is the one method which is used today, right? But in the ancient Harappan period, or even in the later upcoming periods like during the Gupta age or during the Mauryan period, during the Chola period, we find the different type of Sire Purdue. For example, first of all, what will they do? First of all, they will be having the wax prototype. Okay, wax prototype. Then they will be putting the mud around, right? Mud or sand mold around this wax. Okay, around this wax model. All right, everyone. So suppose this is the wax model, then I am just taking a soil and putting soil on all the side of this. After some time, the soil will be dried, and then when I will heat the soil, this wax will melt and come out of the small hole. From that same hole, I will put the molten metal inside, and the molten metal will be solidifying after some period, and then it will be having the same shape as the shape of the wax was there. But now we cannot heat it to melt the metal again, because that is not possible. So we will break the mold from outside, which is the soil made, that will be breaking easily, and we will get the pure metal in the form of particular product that we were trying to create. This technology was used to construct the statues, to sculpt the statues in the Harappan period, or even during the Buddhist age, or during the Mauryan, Guptas, Cholas, during almost all the phases of India's ancient and medieval history. So this technology is very important. Even today in Chhattisgarh, we have the Dhokra art. We have the Dhokra art, where the similar type of sculptures, they are created, they are constructed with in the similar manner. They exactly look like the Harappan sculptures. Now, when we learned about this particular thing, we find the best example of that. We find the best example of that. They were basically the Harappan, right? The Harappan dancing girl. Okay, dancing girl. But don't misunderstand. This is the bronze. Okay, this is the bronze statue. Remember that. These are the terracotta statues. These are the terracotta statues. Okay, we will talk about that later. So when we talk about the bronze casting, apart from the dancing girl, we can also see that among the animal figures as well, certain animal figures were also made using the bronze. For example, there is a very famous bronze bull that we have found from Mohenjo-daro. Similarly, the bronze casting was popular because all the major centers of the Harappan civilization, they used to have the bronze artifacts. In fact, in the prelims question as well, they can give this type of a statement where they can confuse the candidate that in Harappan civilization, the bronze artifacts were, they were manufactured only at Mohenjo-daro. Or they might say in the statement that the dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro is the only example of the bronze artifact in the Harappan civilization. Both the statements will be wrong, because apart from the bronze buffalo, we also have the examples of the copper dog and the bird of the Lothal and the bronze figure of the bull from Kalibanga. So we have several examples. Please remember these things, or if you do not want to remember, do not want to note down, then stay till the end, because in the end of the session I will be sharing my Telegram channel's link where I keep uploading the content of this particular class. All right, everyone. So I hope that you got the clear idea that where were these type of artifacts located. Then metal casting appears to be the continuous tradition, because even after the decline of the Harappan period, we also get several evidences of the metal casting even during the Chalcolithic period or during the contemporary periods of after the end of the Stone Age or Metal Age, right? So that started since the Harappan civilization, continued to the Chalcolithic period, and developed during the Iron Age. That is very important point to remember. Examples we can give that, for example, the Harappan and the Chalcolithic sites like Daimabad in Maharashtra, it has the excellent examples of the metal cast sculptures. So we can actually say that Daimabad is also famous for the metal sculptures. And by the way, tell me in the comment box that why is Daimabad famous? Why is Daimabad famous? Which is the reason for the fame of Daimabad? Now we will be talking about the next material from which the Harappans used to construct their sculptures. We have studied about stones, we have studied about the metals. Now we are going to study about the terracotta. Look at these two pictures. These two pictures indicate the images of Mother Goddess. Images of the Mother Goddess. You can see that the Mother Goddess is wearing lots and lots of the ornaments. She is having an hourglass structure of the body. Hourglass structure, basically when you have this type of structure with the shoulder, okay, then waist and the hips, this is called as the hourglass structure. And she is actually wearing the huge necklaces which are hanging till the which are hanging up to the belly button, Now when we talk about the proportion between proportion of the body and the head, that appears to be very, very much weird, because the body is quite elongated, whereas the head that appears to be shortened, right? And why is this so? It is because the technique which was used, let me tell you, the technique which was used here, that was called as the pinching technique. The pinching technique. Okay. What is this pinching technique, everyone? The pinching method. When we call this method as the pinching method, or the simply the pinch method, which means that you are using the thumb and the index finger to pinch, and with this pinching you are giving the shapes like that. The nose, the lips, or even the head is also pinched. Even today, if we have this soft soils, when we have the wax, the play wax that we basically children use for playing and making toys, etc. So that is also the similar type of substance where we have the soft wax to make certain type of statues or certain type of the artifacts, etc. for the purpose of children. Here also you can see that these type of pieces of soil, they were simply pressed, right? They were simply pressed. So terracotta, that was a very, very important, you can say, right, very, very important element to Harappans for constructing their artifacts. Here, compared to the stone and bronze statue, the terracotta representations of the human form are crude in the Harappan Valley. Crude means what? Crude means less refined, less sophisticated, less beautiful in the appearance. And it is absolutely clear from the picture. Absolutely clear from the picture. If you compare the slender body of this statue, the hands of this particular statue, the body face and the body dimension, you can realize that comparatively these sculptures, they are quite unfinished. They are quite not so well proportioned. Okay, everyone, remember that. So they are more realistic in Gujarat side and Kalibangan. So the most important among them, they include the mother goddess. But apart from the mother goddess, let me tell you, some of the figurines consisting of the males, who are bearded males, coiled hair, and rigidly upright postures, such type of figures are also obtained. However, the most important subject, subject for the makers of terracotta figurines, that is the images of the terracotta images of the animals, right, everyone? So the terracotta animals have been found in the larger number. In fact, some of them appear that they might be the toys manufactured for the children and their needs. In fact, if you see, the repetition of the figures exactly in the same position would suggest that he was a deity. Okay, everyone? So how do we exactly know that some of the figures we are calling that they were toys, some of the figures we are calling that they were the deities, they were worshipped? It is because when we see the repetition of the images, for example, whenever we will make the statue of Lord Ganesha during Ganesh Chaturthi every year, we usually make the statue in the similar type of appearance. However, nowadays, in the name of experimentation, we are using the different types of representations of Lord Ganesh, but usually we have the similar aspect of the face. We don't change the aspect of the face, isn't it? He has that snout, he has that trunk, that is there. So this is why the scientists, particularly the archaeologists, they have concluded that the repetition means that the particular figure might be the figure of a deity. However, if we talk about terracotta, how many of you can exactly tell that this was a bull? this was a bull or a small birdie, a small, bull, right, bird plus bull combination that appears having the wheel. So it is nothing but a toy, because here you cannot identify exactly which type of animal is that. You can simply identify that this is some animal or some sculpture with the possibility of moving wheels around it. Similarly, you can see the different sculptures showing the replica of the mother goddess. Okay, replica of the mother goddess. Right. So here you can see appearance, the similar type of head, here also, here also, here also, but they are not wearing any jewelries. They are not wearing any jewelries. So that means what? That jewelries were probably belonging to the mother goddess in a very, in a very high status statue. For example, when you go to the rich temple, bigger temples, you find that the deity, the statue of the deity in that particular temple is highly ornamented. But when we go to the normal temples, we simply see a statue kept in the temple. People are worshipping that. That is all. That is all. So here also the archaeologists conclude that the mother goddess statue obtained from Mohenjo-daro, etc., that might be more important as compared to the hundreds of the statues of similar types obtained from various places. Okay. Now, when we talk about the another major aspect, so we understood about the Harappan sculptures. Now let us talk about the Harappan seals, because the seals are the identity of Harappan civilization. In fact, what was a seal in Harappa? The seal was like a square shaped plaque. Remember, sometimes you have this statement in the examination, in the question paper, they will say that only square shape. No, that is wrong. Right? A square plaque usually, right, usually square, but otherwise also we had the cylindrical, rectangular, okay, rectangular, etc. So usually 2 by 2 square inches, usually made from the soft river stone called as the statite. River stone called as the statite. And guys, this particular seal, it also had the pictographic script that is still not deciphered. What is the nature of that pictographic script? Let me tell you. When I am talking about the pictographic script, the meaning of pictographic script is what? Just have a look on this particular picture. This picture has got so many symbols. Can you see this symbol? Everyone, have a look on this. Okay, have a look on this. This is the exact symbol which is made here. Now, I hope you can read this. Isn't it? But similarly, you can see the symbols here as well. The symbol, okay, symbol here. Then this symbol. What is the meaning? Nobody knows, because nobody is able to read that symbol. Nobody is able to understand. Nobody is able to decipher the meaning of that. But if you simply go by the variety of the Harappan seals, you can simply be amazed. And some of the seals are very simple, where the bull is depicted. This bull is called as the zebu. All right, everyone? Just a second. This is named as zebu. And if you look at the horn, this is very huge horn. If you look at the neck coat or the neck fur coat, this is absolutely huge neck coat. This is called as the unicorn. Okay, unicorn. Here in unicorn, you can see the single long curved horn. Okay, and a tail like a bull. See, those people who think that unicorn is a real animal, they should pay attention to the similarity in the back area, right, of the bull and the unicorn. It appears almost similar. Even the pattern of the feet is also very same. Okay. So overall, the unicorn appears to be a combination of the different animals in the representation. Here, one half of the body, the back half of the body, that is exactly similar to the bull. Even the pattern of tail you can see. Here, right? Exactly the same pattern of the tail. However, when we talk about the similarity of the neck region and the horn, etc., then you can see the horn of the rhinoceros is comparatively straight, but the horn of the unicorn is highly figurative, highly curved, isn't it? So this indicates some type of imaginary animal which was represented on the Harappan seals. This is why it is not considered to be an actual animal. And when we consider some imaginary figure, but we have the repetition of that figure, that indicates that that particular unicorn was a very, very sacred type of animal. It was highly revered, probably worshipped type of animal. Isn't it? Like we do not have the normal human beings having the head, having a trunk, but when we have the repeated human images where the hands are like human beings, where the legs are like human beings, the sitting posture is like human beings, but the head is like an elephant, then we should understand that this person or this image must be the image of a god, right? So you can compare this type of analogy, this type of understanding, to understand that why was unicorn regarded as a deity, or the animal which was worshipped probably. Okay. But if you look at the variety of the images, you can see here probably there is a ascetic who is sitting and wearing the crown of the horns and holding a snake-like serpent here into his hands. Here you can see the deer is right. The deer-like animal is sitting, or the camel-like animal is sitting, but some child is sitting on the top of the animal. On the reverse side, the lion-like animal is represented here. Okay. Then we have the tiger. We have the tiger-like animal with a story representation where a tree is there, and probably the lady is sitting on the branch of a tree and might be doing the hunting of the tiger, or might be getting afraid of the tiger. That is not very clear from this picture. But this is the image which is quite fascinating. Here probably a man or a lady, not very sure about the gender, but it appears to be fighting against the two tigers in a standing position. Okay. So these are the different, in fact, very diverse types of the seals represented in the Harappan culture. Harappan culture also represents the elephant, also represents the rhino, and again a strange type of animal where the tail is similar to the tiger. But having the horns like a bull. So bull plus tiger, isn't it? You can understand it very well that Harappans, now UPSC can ask a question that Harappans used to portray the combined figures of two or more animals. Absolutely correct statement. So we can say that the fusion of the animal representations, that was a very common feature in Harappan civilization. Yes, that was a common feature. Then, my dear, look at this picture. This is the leeward side, the wrong side. This is the right side because it is protruding outward. What is that? What is that? That is a swastik. That is a swastik. Okay, this is a swastik enclosed in a box. Okay, here what is that? This is the yogic posture, right? The person sitting in a yogic posture and having the bangles, full of bangles in one arm, and in other arm the bangles are only 3. Then the gear, the headgear or the crown, that is made up of the buffalo horns. And then we have the certain images on the top of the, right, on the top of this image, certain symbols. Then we have the rhinoceros, okay, we have buffalo, we have an elephant, and we have a tiger. So these are the sculptures, right? These are the sculptures which indicate the variety of the seals. And what is that? What is that? Guys, it indicates that seals were also having the geometrical shape designs. Okay, everyone. So this is another example of the unicorn seal. This is the detailing about the Pashupati seal, right? Pashupati seal. This is the bull made up of bronze. The bull made up of bronze, about which we were discussing in the beginning of the session. Look at the proportion of this sculpture. This is absolutely beautiful. Probably more proportionate and more balanced design as compared to the Harappan, as compared to the other bronze images of the Harappan civilization. Okay, everyone. And what is this? Anybody try to tell what is that? What is this exactly? What is this exactly? I think there will be no doubt at all when you see such type of images. It is the absolutely similar type of a sculpture which we call and worship today as the Shivling. And from where has this been obtained? This has been obtained, right? This type of sculpture has been obtained from Harappa. Okay, from Harappa. And this type of sculpture has been obtained from Kalibangan. So this is from Harappa. All right, everyone. And this is from Kalibangan. This is from Kalibangan. Okay. So that is a very, very important aspect that one must keep in the mind. One must keep in the mind. This is not a seal. This is not a seal, let me tell you. This is simply a sculpture, a statue, that's all. Okay, this is not a seal. Hello everyone, very, very good evening and welcome to StudyIQ IAS. I hope that all of you must be waiting for the session. So finally the session is live. Kindly confirm if the voice and video both are coming properly. So good evening everybody, welcome back and welcome back to this session once again. I hope that you all have watched the previous lecture in this series where we are doing the art and culture. And in the yesterday's lecture we had covered the art and culture of the Indus Valley civilization. Today we are going to cover the second part, and as I had mentioned already in the previous lecture itself that we had already covered the features related to the sculptures, related to the seals, etc. Now in today's lecture we are going to cover the features like potteries, okay, and also we will try to understand and have a look on the jewelries, the beads and other ornamental features which the Harappan people used to have. So make it sure that you share this session with your friends as well as the colleagues or any aspirant who is preparing for this examination. because to cover the part of culture, it might be very tricky for some students who do not know exactly that which part has to be given how much focus. So this series, which is called Sanskriti series, right, that means the culture, this is going to resolve all your problems, all your issues related to the preparation. So do not hesitate to share it with your friends and put it as your status as well. Now, moving to the topic, right, here let me just introduce this very interesting thing that you all might have seen. So till today, we have already covered the important part like the bronze statue or the stone statues or the terracotta statues. But today we will be covering the potteries, the ornaments and the different types of the potteries as well. Arts of Indus Valley, pottery. Now, before we could proceed, my simple question to the viewers: why is pottery considered a significant symbol to understand the culture of any society? Of course, you all might have seen in your houses, in your homes, that our families definitely used the different types of the potteries, different types of the potteries, different types of the crockeries. Suppose when there are the guests coming from some reputed place, coming as a VIP, then we take out the best and the fine most qualities of the crockeries, isn't it? Whereas if there is some ordinary person, we might be using some ordinary type of utensils, and the day-to-day utensils which we are using in our homes, that is also different, isn't it? Which means that somewhere down the line, the type of pottery is the direct indication. In maximum cases, it is the direct indication of the materialistic growth, of the economic status and of the cultural behavior in a household, in a society. I hope that everybody would be agree to this point. This is why, my dear, when we excavate any historical place and try to find out the culture of that place, we have a look on the different types of the potteries. Not only the nature of the potteries, but also the material which is used to construct that pottery, even that is very important. Suppose if there is the pottery made from the normal soil, normal earth, that might be the civilization based upon agriculture. But when we have the potteries made from the gold, silver and other metals, might be that civilization is related to the trade and commerce, isn't it? Because of that, more prosperity is there. Some of the societies might be having the ceramic potteries, which means that they are quite well aware about the heat treatments of the soil or about the manufacturing processes, that means the technical advancement. So overall, the nature and the criteria which is used to make the soil, manufacture the soil pottery or any other type of pottery, that clearly connects with the cultural, social and behavioral aspects of any society. Okay, everyone? So here we can say one thing, that Harappans, basically they were using the distinct types of the potteries, which enables us to understand the gradual evolution of the Harappan people. The designs which were used on the potteries, they also make us to understand about their thought process, about their ideas. For example, suppose if you give a pottery to a child and you ask him or her to make the best design on that pottery because that is your favorite pottery. Now the child will simply draw some lines, some straight and bend lines over here. But a person who is well versed in the understanding of the drawing, that person might make a very good picture. Some persons who might be devotional in the nature, they may paint the picture, they may draw the picture of their deity. So it is possible that we can also conclude from looking at the pottery that which type of belief or which type of decoration pattern might be the favorite of the people of that civilization. This is why, my dear, let me tell you that potteries, they might be the handmade potteries, or they might be the wheel made potteries. All right, the potteries might be the plain potteries, or they might be the colored or simply decorated potteries. The potteries might be made from the soil, okay, made from the soil, or they might be made from the any other element, any other material. So overall we can say that potteries are widely accepted as the indicator of the cultural prosperity in any particular society, and Harappan civilization is also no exception of that. So when we talk about the types of pottery in Harappan civilization, we have the major types. Number 1, plain pottery. Number 2, the black painted ware. Then third is polychrome pottery. Fourth is incised wares, and fifth is the perforated pottery. Now let us understand the meaning of each of these types of potteries. I hope that you all are able to understand these things properly. There might be the questions in the prelims examination from this particular point, that the Harappans were unaware of the perforated pottery, or Harappans were unaware about making the liquor. And remember that when we talk about liquor manufacturing, wine manufacturing, then we must understand that the perforated pottery is the best pottery to manufacture the wine, all right, to make the wine. So this is why different types of potteries indicate the different types of practices, different types of edibles which might be used in that time. So plain pottery is usually the red clay which is called as the red wares. Okay everyone, red wares with or without a fine red or grey slip. Red or grey slip means what? That might be, slip means what? Slip means there is a slight flattish base on the pottery, so that pottery, if it is kept on the ground, it does not dwindle. Okay, that is basically the fine slip. And the slip is also indicative of the fineness of the property, right? Suppose if there is the fine slip, that means it is having less grainy structure. It is the texture which is very, very fine. Okay, so here let me tell you that includes the knobbed ware ornamented with the rows of the knobs. What is the meaning of knob, by the way? Have you seen a kettle? Have a look at this picture, right? Have a look at this picture. Do you find any type of knob in this picture? I don't think so. But suppose if there might be a knob like this, okay, a knob like this, as you might be aware or you might have seen in a kettle. In kettle also you have this type of knobs, isn't it? So here you can simply use that knob. So Harappans were actually proficient in making the potteries having the knobs. Got it everyone? After the red wares, we have the black painted wares. What is the meaning of that? Basically, these black painted wares, these included the potteries which were baked with a little high temperature. Not only that, even over the black pottery, there used to be the fine red color coating with the designs having the geometrical or the zoonotic shapes. Okay, geometrical shapes like triangle, trapeziums, lines, curves, and the zoonotic shapes such as certain animals. Okay, so it is like having a look on the pottery. If you understand this pottery is looking to be red but the color of the paintings which is done on the pottery, that appears to be black, which indicates that this pottery should be named as the black on red ware, wares. Okay everyone, so the first type of pottery which was used, that was the plain pottery, also called as the red wares. Then we have the black painted ware, also called as the black on red wares. Okay, those who don't understand, wares, that means the utensils. Okay everyone, exactly, that is also known as the black burnished ware. But remember that apart from the monochrome and the dichrome, there were the polychrome potteries as well. What is the meaning of monochrome? Simple, the first one, only one color. Then bichrome means what? Two colors. And then we have the polychrome, means multiple colors. Remember that Harappan potteries were mainly using the single or the double colored potteries, but there also existed the multicolored potteries, but they are rare, they are very rare. So that mainly comprises the small vases decorated with the geometric patterns in the red, black and the green, and sometimes white and yellow. Now this statement, my dear, I can guarantee that if this statement was given in the examination, 80% of the people, they must have considered it to be a wrong statement. And why so? Because usually we come across the information where it is given that Harappans had the black burnished or black on red, and they had the simply red wares. We don't have the information in detail about the polychrome potteries of Harappa, and let me tell you that at the various places, including the Langhanaj, or not Langhanaj, Deshalpur, including the Ganveri Wala, including the places like Rakhi Garhi. Okay, in such places we have discovered the small decorative potteries having the multiple colors, including the green, white, black, red, so many colors. Okay, they are called as the polychrome potteries or the multicolored potteries. That is the special features. Now two special type of the special purpose potteries were also constructed in Harappa. The first one, that was the incised ware. What is the meaning of the incised ware? Have a look in this. Rare and incised decoration was confined to the bases of the pans, always inside, and the dishes of the offering stands. Incised wares, that means, suppose if you might have seen certain engravings. Have you ever seen a pottery or a pan in which the brand name is incised? Brand name is incised. You can simply touch that pottery and you can feel the incision, whether it is a design or it is the brand name or it is a symbol, right? For example, suppose if you touch the cookwares of Hawkins, then you can feel the Hawkins that written on the, it is simply imbibed, right? It is simply ingrained into the surface, so that those people who can touch it, they can feel it. Something very similar to the Braille script for the visionless people, for the viewless people. So those who cannot watch, cannot view, right? So those who can't see, they can touch it and experience it. Then we have the perforated pottery. As I told you, what is the meaning of the perforated pottery? Basically, the perforated potteries, they were used in the brewing. What is the meaning of the brewing? So when we say the breweries, or the manufacturing of the liquor, usually this was done in such a potteries which had the which had the large hole at the bottom and a small holes all over the wall, and they were probably used for the straining liquor. So when the large hole at the bottom, that was usually plugged, and the small perforated holes, they used to provide the limited supply of the air. And eventually when the fermentation completed, then that large hole was opened, it was uncapped, and after that the large hole actually drained the entire settled alcohol in the ground. So that means for the manufacturing of alcohol, this method was used on this particular type of pottery. So I hope that everybody remembers these 5 types of the potteries which we have unearthed or discovered in the Harappan civilization. Now, when we talk about the purpose or the shape and size of the potteries, try to understand that Harappans, they used the different types of the potteries for the different purposes, as I had told you, some for the straining of the liquor. But keeping that aside, even if we try to understand, the Harappans mainly used the potteries for the household purpose. See, it is absolutely crystal clear concept that the potteries are the need, they are the need of any civilization which is agrarian, because you have to store the production surplus, you have to store the additional production that you have, because you want either to utilize it later or you want to sell it to some other people or some other place, so that it can give back some revenue to you. This is why the potteries were constructed for the first time probably. Now, if we talk about their size and shape, so have a look that they were straight or angular shaped. Not only that, they were also having the curved potteries, also had the miniature vessels, decorative vessels. In fact, some of the potteries were such small potteries, less than half an inch in the size. Even, what is the half an inch? 1 inch hardly has 2.55 centimeters. Half an inch like 1.25 centimeter. Can you even imagine that this small size of pottery was there? So it indicates that they had the absolutely great skills related to the craft of pottery making. That means you can see the different types of, this is probably the pottery stand, this is the perforated glass, this is the something similar to the modern lota, and these are the tumblers. Okay, this is basically looking like a serving glass, and this is looking like a jug, and this is something, I think, a pitcher with a stand. Okay, so different types of the potteries they were manufactured. Here as well, perforated pot and potteries in the normal case with the shiny glossy appearance, and the paintings done in the black ink. Now, so potteries, I hope that part is absolutely clear to all of you. But when we talk about the beads and ornaments, now my dear students, as we saw that potteries, they indicate the social status, they indicate the creative choices, they indicate the you can say professional acceptance of the arts and craft into their day-to-day life. When I am saying the professional acceptance, that means what? Suppose if you purchase the pottery only from such a person who is very proficient in making beautiful looking potteries, that means you are accepting that as a designated profession. This is why whenever we say that in Harappan civilization the society was a multipolar economy or a multi-professional economy, we can say yes, of course, Of course, because there were many designated economic activities. Okay. Now moving further, let us understand the significance of the beads and the ornaments. Why it is important? Because the jewelries which you wear on, they tell about you more than anything else. For example, if you look at the person, you all might remember that movie, one movie in which I think Sanjay Dutt was there, and he used to say that a huge chain was there, right? So that particular ornament became the symbol of what? The ornament indicated the social status, the job profile, the background of that person in particular movie. Similarly, when you see a person today wearing so many rings, into the fingers, so huge chain made of the gold, and additional jewelries, lots of other gold jewelries or diamond jewelries, what do you infer from that? What do you conclude from that? You conclude that this person might belong to a very rich background, a very rich household. But when in contrast to this, when you go to the tribal zone or the rural areas, you find that whenever there is a special occasion, a special event, like a celebration, like a festival, any birthday party, then you find that people are wearing extraordinary cloths, jewelries, they are well dressed, they are quite well groomed. And that tells us that today there might be some festival or there might be a special occasion, isn't it? This is why from the jewelries and ornaments we get the ideas related to the social and cultural occasions. Okay, everyone? And we also get the idea about the socio-cultural status, and we also get an idea about the acceptance of the beauty, right, of the beauty norms, and also get the idea about the aesthetics, right, aesthetics of the society, and also get an idea about the preferred valuables. What is the meaning of these terms? Let me explain it for you. For example, I hope that the social and cultural occasion, the socio-cultural status, these two things might be absolutely clear to everyone. But when we see the acceptance of the beauty norms, now what does that mean? Guys, remember that in any time period, there are the different parameters to define the beauty, different parameters to define the aesthetics of the society. For example, in the rural areas or in the in slight older traditions, when you used to wear the shiny, glittering and murmuring type of cloth, where it used to shine and glitter throughout from the distance, then it was assumed that yes, today is some festival and the people are wearing very shiny and silvery type of cloth, so that means they probably are celebrating or they probably are getting ready for some occasion. However, the same definition of the occasional wears or occasional jewelries, that has changed now when you wear the subtle jewelries with the rustic looks, with the matte finish. That has become the new definition of the beauty in today's period. In one society, you can say that the people call the person beautiful or good looking when the person is wearing very flashy, very heavy looking jewelries, very shiny looking clothes, but in the other society, you will call the person as dignified, classy, when the person is wearing minimum jewelries with less shiny cloth, or probably no shine in the cloths. Simply the appearance is good. So therefore the beauty and the aesthetics in a society, that also tells a lot of informations to us about the way in which the society deals with itself, with its people. Okay everyone. Then preferred valuables. Now guys, remember, suppose if you know that the diamond and gold are very costly materials. Why do you think so? Because they are occasionally used, they are used in making jewelries, their availability is very less, and their store value, their shelf value is extremely high, resale value is extremely high, the loss of capital or the loss of the value in that is very low. Whereas today you do not consider anything that is made from the soil, made from the bones, made from the stones as beautiful or as good looking. But in the Harappan civilization or such ancient civilizations, the people used to make the jewelries etc. or the beads etc. not only from the gold and other precious metals, but also from the semi-precious stones, also from the terracotta, that is the burnt soil, and also from the bones and other simple stones. That means for them, even the shells and the cowries which they were using, right, even they also had some value. Today you will not understand the value of the shells of the simple sand that we get in the riverbed. But when you just make those great garlands of the shells and you just go and sell in the market, then you will realize that probably 500 rupees or 1000 rupees, that will be the charge of that particular shell necklace. Okay everyone. So here the Harappans actually, both men and women, decorated themselves with a large variety of the ornaments produced from the every conceivable material, whatever they had at their end. So that means precious metals, gemstones, clay, bones, simple stones, everything. And they made different types of jewelries like necklaces, fillets, armlets, finger rings. These were commonly worn by both men and women. Whereas women, they especially had girdles, earrings and anklets. That means probably in those times as well, the armlets means what? Armlets basically, when we say simply this type of structure, this is a kada, okay. So anklet means something which we wear around the ankles, like a pazeb or a pile, that is anklet. When we say armlet, this is the arms, this is the arm, okay. Then something which we wear around the arms, that is an armlet. And what is the girdle? Girdles basically, when we say this portion, this is the girdle, this is the pectoral girdle, okay. In biological term, you might be aware, called as a pectoral girdle. So when we wear something around pectoral girdle, then you might have seen that upper arm ring, that is called pectoral girdle. Then these things were especially worn by the women, not by the men. The hoards of jewelry found at Mohenjo-daro and Lothal include the necklaces of the gold and semi-precious stones, copper bracelets and beads. What is the meaning of beads? Have you all seen the necklace of gold or necklace of pearls? Suppose if you have seen, okay, if you have seen the necklace of pearls, then my dear, each pearl is considered like a bead, However, if you want to see the bead here, these are the beads. You can see here, these are the small beads. Got it everyone? And these are the gold sheets. Here you can see the bigger beads. Here you can see the certain pipe like things which are used to decorate, or cylindrical beads. You can see the cylindrical beads here as well. Okay, these are the simple fillets, and these are the armlets or the girdles. Okay, so this indicate the entire range of the ornaments used by the Harappan people. In fact, this is just one picture. I hope that you have this curiosity to look at the other pictures, so you can definitely go and search at different locations. There is a website, in fact, I will tell you, related to Harappan civilization, harappa.com. So that will also show you a lot of other aspects, lot of other types of jewelries obtained from this place. So that gives us the clear understanding about the different types of the jewelries. In fact, my dear, let me tell you, a cemetery has been found at Farmana in Haryana, where the dead bodies were buried with ornaments. Now, what is this indicating? What is the significance of this? When you hear that dead bodies are buried with the ornaments, which means that how much those dead bodies people, how much would they be living, or how much would they be loving the ornaments. Suppose if I love a particular jewelry, I would in fact instruct my family members that after my death, just make sure that you don't get those ornaments off my body. Don't remove those ornaments from my body. Okay? Or this might also indicate that family members themselves believed in some type of life after the death. Therefore, they did one thing, that they just groomed that person's dead body. Before burying that inside the ground, they made sure that they completely decorate that person with the ornaments and jewelries, so that whenever that person gets up into the next life, that person should have all the beloved ornaments that he had in this particular life. So this is how the thought process might be working. But when we try to understand the different types and the shapes of the beads and ornaments, let me tell you, usually the beads were made up of stones, metals and some other materials. Three different sources of the materials. In the stones we had the cornelian, then amethyst, jasper, crystals, quartz, statite, turquoise and lapis lazuli, etc., etc. Mainly three type of metallic beads were also manufactured. In fact, copper and gold were the most commonly used metals, whereas the bronze, that was also there. Bronze is a little bit more tough and difficult to work with. However, copper and gold, they are both very suitable to make the ornaments due to their high ductility and high malleability. Okay, what is the ductility and malleability? The wiring property and the sheeting property. Okay, everyone? Now, yes, exactly, we have this, right? We have these things even today. They are either placed in the, certain museums of Delhi, or they are placed in the museums of Lahore or Mohenjo-daro, that is near Karachi, or if they are not present in India, they might be somewhere in Australia, US or Britain, of course. Okay. Do we have to remember these names? I would suggest you that you have to remember, at least you have to get an idea, right? Because these names, these different types of the stones, you may have at least one name. Even if one name comes into the question, then the entire point becomes valid, entire point becomes important. Okay. Apart from this, the shells and the fanes and the terracotta or the burnt clay, all these were used to make the different type of the beads. Like some beads, they looked like the disc, others looked like cylinders, and some others looked like sphere, and some of them looked like barrel. What is the barrel? Barrel looks like that. Barrel looks like that. Okay, that is a barrel. Okay. and segmented. Some others looked like, suppose, no, this is the segmented beads. This is the segmented beads. So at least you have to understand and remember the different types of the shapes, some of the important stones which were used, and the factories of bead manufacturing that was basically located. They were located at two different places. Got it, everyone? Now, I hope you saw the picture as well. Now let us come to the last point of this lecture. Here, the special features of the Harappan culture. Now, this is something that we need to remember. So guys, here in the special features of Harappan culture, some beads were made of the 2 or more stones. Now, this can be a line in your question in the examination, that the composite beads were manufactured at Harappa, or composite beads were a feature of the Harappan jewelries. Any type of statement can come and we have to make conclusion. We cannot simply guess it blindly. If we know that, only then we can solve, otherwise we cannot. So, cemented together, that means joined together. Some of the stones with the gold covers, and some were decorated by incising the paintings into that. So that means they did not just create the simple seals or simple beads, they created the incised beads. That means there used to be the intricate work on the beads. And guys, when you listen, when you hear to the types of terms like intricate carvings or intricate work, conclude one point, that these were exported also. The beads were exported to the countries like Persia and Mesopotamia and Egyptian cultures. Got it, everyone? So that means they formed a very important part of our Harappan exports. Then Harappan people also made brilliantly naturalistic models of the animals like monkeys and squirrels using the pinheads and the beads. So they were so artistic, so much artistic, that they used to construct the animal figures, animal models by the beads only. Like today, suppose if you make a jewelry that looks like a bird, looks like a monkey, that is what they were doing. They were making the craft, beautiful craft of these beads. Then discovery of the large number of the spindles and the spindle whorls, that indicates that spinning of the cotton and wool, that was very common. So spindle means what? Spindle you might have seen where we just make the threads and we just wrap the threads, right? Basically the weaving art was very, very common, okay, for both cotton and wool. Cotton and wool both were woven by the Harappan people. Not only that, even both the rich as well as the poor, they did the spinning. Why? Because the poor people, their spindles, they were made of the simple pottery or shell or the bones. The rich people's spindles, they were made of the copper, bronze, gold and other expensive materials. Okay, and both we can say, when we talk about the clothings, the Harappan people, they used to wear the different pieces of attires, right? For example, the men, they had worn the dhoti and the shawl. Okay, shawl was like, it was kept on one shoulder, exposing the other shoulder, whereas the women, they simply wore the wrap around cloths, not the stitched cloths. Remember that the Harappans, they made the cloth sheets extensively, but Harappans, they did not use the sewing, they did not use the stitching of the cloths. We have the needles, we have the threads, but the Harappans used the needle and the thread for the embroidery purpose. for the embroidery purpose. Remember that. They actually made the embroideries. They were aware of the embroideries. Okay. But they did not do the stitching. I hope you understood the point here. Decoration was primary, stitching was not that much important. Then different hairstyles, that they were in the vogue, and wearing of the beard was popular among all. So long hair and keeping the beard and different hairstyles. In fact, the use of the cinnabar, that was also very, very important. That means the use of the vermilion was well known to them. They used the vermilion, cinnabar, they used the lipstick, eyeliner and other fashion articles. Quite fashionable people, Harappans. And not only that, some of the people, those who were fashionable, they used to keep the mirrors to look their faces. The mirrors were made of the extremely well polished and lustrous, shiny, reflecting shiny copper. Okay, so using this kumkum, sindoor, lipstick, eyeliners, that indicated that Harappans were probably as modern in the fashion sense as the people of today, isn't it? In fact, many stone structural remains they are found at Dhaulavira that show that how the people used stone in their construction. So even their construction and their crafts all were excellent. So we can conclude that their cultural features, they were probably of the top notch as we see today. These are certain examples. You can see the toys made of the terracotta. This looks like a bull, this looks like a unicorn toy. Then this is the decorated pottery made of the simple soil with the black decorations. Here the lines are drawn, and then we have the triangles as the decorated pattern. Then we have the leaves of the people. Okay, people leaves, very simple, elegant and good looking motifs. And in case you want the content of this class, then do join my Telegram channel. I have started this Telegram channel for my students who are going to be connected with me through this program that is related to culture, right? So I will be uploading the content of this particular class at my Telegram channel, and I will also be answering certain queries and questions if possible. Thanks a lot for watching it, guys. Take care, bye-bye, and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.